Hey everyone, Aaron here, and this is my 70-second review on this channel. And today's review is of The Devil is a Part-Timer. Now, ironically enough, I actually only watched this not that long ago. I actually watched this about, I want to say a year and a half ago, around that. And I'll tell you though, I love this. I watched this on, I forgot where I watched it, but I watched it in English. I've seen some of it in Japanese. I'm not a huge fan of the Japanese dub for, I'll tell you that right now, but I'll tell you right now, this show is so funny. It's so... before I had this channel, I had a review... I didn't review this to people, but I told people about it. And they would go, okay, that sounds interesting. And they would write it down, and they'd go watch it and go, wow, this is awesome. I wish there was more of it. And I think that's the biggest problem with Devil's a Part-Timer, but I'm going to get into that review. Let me save that for the end part. But anyways, let me explain the story of Devil's Part-Timer to you guys who might not know. So, we have our main character, Mao, who is actually the Demon King, the Devil King, in his world. And his world is a kind of fantasy, magical based world. There's alchemy, there's heroes and villains, etc, etc. And he's actually, the first episode starts him off in a giant battle against the heroes, and he's losing, which is not a surprise. He's the bad guy technically. He should be losing, right? But what happens then is that him and his kind of follower, his second hand, jump through a portal to try to run away from the heroes and get thrown into a world that they don't understand. There's street lights, there's, various kind of crazy vehicles. What are these things? Oh, wait, it's modern day Tokyo. Yeah, it's not, I'll tell you right now, it's not something you haven't seen before in anime world, but what's really funny though is here's the catch, where once our main character realizes that he has no means of getting back to his own world because he just doesn't have the power anymore, because he's still recovering, he decides that he has to survive in this new world, this modern day Tokyo. And how he does that is interesting. He becomes, and as the title suggests, a part-timer. And he works for a company called McDonald's, which is supposed to be McDonald's, but come on. You can't use McDonald's in the show unless they actually were paying for it. And from there on, we see a lot of, Mao, who, is again the main character. We see a lot of his personality. We see a lot of his quirks and who he really is and how he really is, even though he's supposed to be the Devil King. One of the heroes that follows him through the portal, who has to kind of endure the same thing he's doing because she works at a different company, but she's trying to make a living too and try to survive in this new world. Eventually realizes that maybe he's not a bad guy after all, despite his titleship and despite what he per se did in his realm. And that's kind of, I don't want to spoil that too much because that is part of the story. But I'll tell you right now, one of the biggest things that's awesome about The Devil's Part-Timer is the cast of characters. I think the cast of characters is phenomenal. You have, I think her name's Chio, I'm not 100% sure. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. Because again, I watched this, I'm very bad with anime names. I tend to forget a lot of names after the course of watching other anime. By this, I already watched maybe like 30, 40 anime after this show. But you have our main cast, the one girl who works with him, who is a fellow employee, who is like infatuated with him. She loves him and really does not look like she's in high school, but apparently she is in high school according to the anime world. You have his second hand, who becomes really like just more like a maid and almost like a parent to try to keep him safe and keep him fed and try to keep him in sense of line of what he's gonna do. You have another devil who appears, who actually is like a huge shopaholic online. It's a funny cast of characters. None of them are per se original concepts or characters, but the way they're handled in the show is really just kind of genuine fun, and it makes you laugh, and the show will make you crack up, and you will not even realize that by the time you look at the timer to see maybe how far you've gone, and you'll be on like episode 5. It's a show that goes really fast, and it's really enjoyable. It's something that you could easily binge watch. It's only like 12 episodes. But I'll say right now, I actually, and I don't like binge watching anime per se too much. I watch a lot of anime per se. Like if a series finishes, I watch like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, but I'll take a break and watch the next like 4 the next day. Split it up a little bit. Devil's a Part-Timer, I watched almost the whole series in one day. I kid you not, I think I watched the first like 8 episodes, and the last 4 I watched the next day. But it's an awesome show. It's on everything. You can find it on Crunchyroll, you can find it on Netflix, etc. It's not hard to find legal means. They even came out with DVD on it. It's based off a light novel series, so you kind of know what I'm going to go with that. Where it's not done. That's the biggest problem with Devil's a Part-Timer. That's one of the biggest reasons why it won't get as high a score as it can. It's a series that ends abruptly, it ends on a cliffhanger per se, and we probably won't see a second season of this because it just, I don't think it's not that it wasn't popular per se, but I just don't think that the story's done yet in terms of what it's trying to go for, and that's a shame because this show is really good. I love Devil's Part-Time. I think it's a great show to watch. I think it's fun. You know, there's nothing too cliche about it per se, even though the main cast of characters is kind of one-dimensional in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, a lot of them are your quirky, usual, typical anime characters. But overall, though, I love the animation for it. I think the animation's phenomenal. I really do. I think the characters really pop in color-wise, and I think the fights that they have, because there are some big fights in the show. Because I mean, you know, you have heroes and you have a Demon King. You're gonna have some battles coming on, are really good. And I actually think overall, you know, the voice acting English-wise is awesome. Japanese-wise, it's okay. It's not too bad. But overall, if I had to rate this through an A through F, I'd have to give it a B+. I know it's crazy. It has a really kind of crappy ending, but it's the sense that you won't, when you get to the ending, you'll be like, wow, you want more of it. And even more so, even when it ends, it's not like it ends on a bad, sour note that ruins the whole show by ending on a cliffhanger. It just ends on a note that, you know, you want more of it. You wish you had more of it. And I think it's rare for a lot of shows that aren't done yet entirely. But anyways, guys, I hope you like this review. That's it for it. Please like, comment, subscribe. Really helps me out. And as always, guys, until I pass across to get the next review, have a good one, everyone. Bye.